Right guys, welcome back to my channel. Here we are, another day on the water, and yeah, today I'm hoping the water has started to subside. We've had some really good rains recently, and the water went up to 100% capacity, and now it's dropped down to sort of the low 80s, 81, 82. So I'm hoping that the fish will be, be able to, be caught on the wood or rock. That's pretty much what I'm primarily covering today. So what I'll do is I'll take you along and just show you how I do it, and hopefully we can get a couple of bites. I think just before we start fishing, I think let's just go through a couple of the basics. We're talking rods and reels now. So the particular rod that I really enjoy is the IMX Pro, the 906. And this particular rod has really done exceptionally well for me. So it is rated from 10 to 20 pound. Because I'm fishing reaction, there's no need to go with light line. So I'm not saying that's the only rule, but for me that's how it works. So I like to fish anything from 14, maybe even up to 16 pound line, especially when I'm fishing amongst the rocks, the big boulders. In this particular dam, the rocks are very abrasive, so I always prefer to go sort of 14 to 16 pound line. But today I've got my reel rigged up with 14 pound, and I'm using a 5 ratio reel. So this is also enables me to try and keep the bait in the strike zone a bit longer. So that's another good tip that I can give you guys, is always try and use a slower ratio reel when cranking. But because I'm pitching and doing close quarter fishing now with square bills, you'll see what I mean. I'm making short, precise pitches to the cover and hopefully deflecting it off the rock. It's very important when fishing a square bill that you deflect off the cover. So whether you're fishing trees, whether you're fishing rocks, whatever you're fishing, even if you're fishing weed, the objective is to try and get the bait to deflect off the cover. And if you're fishing weed and you pull the bait into the weed, then you pop it off, and that's generally when the bite will come. But in this particular dam, we're going to be fishing a combination of rock and tree, and again, like I said to you, the objective is to deflect off the cover. So if you're not deflecting off the cover, then you upsize your crankbait, and obviously that'll dive deeper. So I use two sort of sizes, a 1.5 and a 2.5 size square bill. So generally the 1.5 dives to sort of, I'd say maximum 3 to 4 foot, and then the 2.5 seem to dive to like sort of 2.5 foot to sort of 6 foot. So obviously the 2.5's got a little bit more vibration, and obviously a lot more buoyant, so there's a time and a place for it. But as we go through it, so we'll discuss it. Another thing that I also like to use, I use a Norman speed clip, especially now when I'm like sort of pre-fishing, just so I can switch my baits without any hassles. Most importantly, always check your knots, especially when you're fishing this type of pattern, pitching in the trees and on the rocks. Always just check your line. Just give your line a bit of a rub every now and again, just to make sure, because the last thing you want to do is hook a quality fish and then lose it because your line is frayed. So yeah, that basically covers that. Just a couple of things. So this is a couple of good colors. This is like a sort of a bluegill pattern that I really like to throw. This has done exceptionally well for me in the past, and this particular bait dives to sort of about 3 to 4 foot. So this one has done exceptionally well. There's another sort of natural bream pattern. This one also does well, again 2.5 to sort of 4 foot. And then I've got a couple of custom square bills that I've got in from the States, and these particular baits also dive between sort of 2 and 4 foot. Once you start going to the 2.5, that's sort of this size over here. This particular one, you're going to probably get it down to sort of 4, 5, 6 foot, depending on how you're operating. So that's how it works. Just another neat little tip that I was actually shown by my good friend old Martin. You'll see how I've put elastics on the trebles. It just makes it so much easier when keeping them in your box. So your trebles are not lying loose, the baits don't get stuck. So what I'll do is I'll do a bit of a sort of video how I do it. It's very simple, but it's certainly, when it comes down to bait management, is definitely helps when going through your baits. Right, so let's get cracking, let's get out there. Before we go, please, those of you that haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. If you like these videos, I would appreciate it if you like it and share it. Ask your friends to subscribe, please. It'll really help me a lot. So let's get out there. You guys have all heard the term match the hatch. So this is how I choose my bait selection. Obviously now I try and do a bit of research, and some of the dams I'm quite familiar with in terms of the bait fish and exactly what the crankbait needs to look like. So the most important thing is to try and match the bait fish that the fish are eating, and in this particular case I'm matching a little blue kerper. There you can see the similarity between the two baits, so that's my primary goal. Using a little blue kerper imitation, fan casting this particular area that I'm in at the moment, and most importantly, making sure that I hit deflection. Making short, precise pitches, as you can see, covering all my bases. But now we're making, you see, we're right in the targets, pitching between the trees, really small pitches. Boom, fish on. This fish absolutely smoked it. This is pulling nicely. Swing. Come here. Crash the bait. Brilliant. Let's get it back in the water. Off to fight another day. Hey, there's nothing better when they snack a square bill. Deflection. Come on, eat it. There we go. Another one has absolutely smashed it. Yes, these fish are strong. As I said, fishing with 14-pound fluorocarbon, making sure that there's no room for error. Hey, these fish are super strong. That's one thing, when they eat these baits, generally there's such an aggressive strike. So this is what really, for me, makes it so much worth it. I mean, when you really work hard and you get these type of bites. Let's just try and get this one in the boat. Got to watch out for the treble hooks. Hey, come on, there we go. Little belly land. This style of fishing has got to be one of my favorites. Awesome fish, really, really cool. Brilliant. Right, let's get it back in. Yet another healthy bass going back to the water. So another great day on the water, operating, deflecting and catching some good fish. Just hit another tree now. Another one. Boom. Another fish. Guys, this is really unbelievable. So just goes to show you, keep your eyes open, watch your fish finder, and make sure your bait hits the cover. And I promise you right now, once you zoned in and you bounce that bait off that cover, the fish just simply can't resist it. So really, I've really had a lot of fun today, operating, hopefully showing you guys one or two things. And I can only encourage you all, don't worry about losing your crankbait, just make sure you deflect off the cover, and I guarantee you're going to have results like I've had right now. So let's get this one into the boat, get it safely released, and that's what I'm talking about. Stick it back into the water, and off she goes. Right, I'd like to take this opportunity as well just to thank all the sponsors that made this possible. Darryl Quinton Fishing, Shimano, Victron Energy, Lowrance, Gary Yamamoto Custom Baits,
and most importantly, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.